So we come to our next second part of the session. We have with us our second speaker, Manan Mehra, and Manan has been our uh, was in a state of career confusion 3-4 years back, and he was planning to do engineering. He had his cleared entrance exam. He had his engineering seat roughly to say, okay, I'll go and take admission, but he was having sleepless nights and saying that no, I don't want to get into engineering, and that's how he came to us. And we would like to hear his story. Ankit, sorry, Manan, it's up to you, over to you, and we would love to hear how are you building your career in the law stream, and your video as well, Manan.
Hi everyone. I would like to thank Firmata for having me here today. And thanks, Ankit. I really liked what you said about public policy. And as a matter of fact, I was also recently engaged in the public policy stream with a few quite reputed organizations. I interned with PRS Legislative Research earlier in my first year. And then I did a course, I Policy, with the Center for Civil Society. That was also a really good course, and it actually helped me evaluate how this career of public policy goes about for young professionals. So yeah, so I'll first speak about how Fermata's counseling helped me when I was in a state of dilemma earlier in my 12th grade. So I'll give you a bit of background about how I went about earlier. So earlier on in eighth, in I think in ninth or 10th grade only, I had sort of developed a passion for science, and I thought that this stream is really good for me, and I really enjoyed doing it also. So I went ahead and did all I could to, make myself strong in that field and develop an edge over other people in that field. I joined a couple of career coaching centers. I got into getting tuitions and everything, sharpening my skills and everything. And I invested actually quite a lot of time. Like I think I invested 3 to 4 years in preparing for IIT and deciding to do engineering and everything. So it was after all these 3 to 4 years that when I was finally in my, I think in the beginning of 12th grade, that I started to realize that maybe, these things are not for me. Maybe I'm not enjoying this thing as much as I should. And that was when I started thinking back. I started thinking that how I should go about this thing. And fortunately, I could connect with Formata Counseling at that point of time. And I believe that they just happened to be, for me, in my case, they happened to be at the right place in the right time. Or I think, had it not been the case, I would have made choices which I would really regret. So yeah, I really thank them for that. And I think it was Professor Jonas itself. He's here with us today. Professor Jonas has had counseled me at that point of time, and it really can understand where my interests lie at that point. So yeah, how did Formata's counseling help me at that point of time? I believe that the way our current education system is designed, it creates a lot of hurdles for students as well as their parents to basically go about their career choices. So understand it in this simple manner, right? So you cannot expect a person who is 16-year-old to understand where his interests lie, because he's just starting to experience the world. He's just starting to set foot, and you're asking him to decide where he wants to be all his life or where he wants to go. So, and the way children plan this and the ways this kind of orientation we have earlier on in our 10th grade also, in basically when we're deciding our careers, maybe in 10th grade or even in 12th grade, is that we look at a final result that, I see myself 20 years from now at this place. So we start thinking back that, maybe if I take this route, then I'll end up being there. And we have a lot of priorities which may be misplaced in certain cases. Like we may be having priorities in case of, like, in which case would I be able to earn a high income for myself, in which case would I be able to be financially successful. And some people might have other priorities also, that maybe this thing aligns with my family business or something. Maybe I'll be able to do this thing. So I believe we have a lot of priorities in those cases, and we don't really know how to basically channel our energies in those points of time, and how to choose our paths. And actually, that is a very crucial point in which we need outside intervention. We need someone to intervene at that point, help sort things out, because mostly at these points of time, what another thing which is happening is that we are burdened with uh, having to give our boards. We are burdened with having to invest in our these entrance tests and everything. So we have a very clouded thinking at this point of time. I believe having someone intervene, having someone look out for you in those points of time is extremely important. And that is how Fermata's career counseling really helped me in those points. So that was about how they helped me. Now I'll give you how my trajectory has been since then. So after preparing for engineering for 4 years, in my 12th grade, I decided I certainly had basically an urge to change my path, and Professor Jonas helped me understand that maybe the law field would be really good for me. I explored it myself. I understood what it entailed, where it took people, and I started thinking on my foot at that point of time, I believe, instead of thinking, about the future, how I would be and what I would do. I think it is important to understand what each thing entails, but it is more important to understand that 10 or 20 years down the line, you can go anywhere you want. Like you can do engineering and end up in public policy, as Ankit said. You can do, you can maybe do law and end up having your own startup, and all those things like that. So I think it's very important to think on your foot where you are at that point of time and work your way from there, instead of planning ahead and planning endlessly. I see a lot of people who are parents of 12 children who are in 12th grade. I heard Uma talk about her child who's very confused at this point of time. And yeah, so I think the only sort of advice or the only feedback I can give to you is that, you know, don't think too much. Don't mess around like maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. Just decide whatever works for now. It'll be good. For example, if you want to and you're thinking about how to get into public policy, let me tell you one thing. So um, I got into law. I never thought about that I'd get into public policy after law. It is when you are invested into something that you can explore your way around other things in that sense. So, for example, multiple universities have these public policy courses, but majorly they are on a master's level only. Ashoka has it on undergraduate level. I just got to know, but JNU has had it for I think almost a decade now. Major international universities have it on a master's level. So if you're thinking about a career in public policy, I believe just get into an undergraduate degree which excites you. Get into an undergraduate degree in which you can basically have your mind cleared out and have yourself not have yourself under pressure of anything. I believe because it is only when your mind is free from fears of the future that you can think about what's good for you. I think thinking too much, worrying a lot, it just clouds our thinking, and that in that worried sense we make the worst decisions, I believe. So it's just important to chill out, I believe, for the time you are thinking about things in life. And um, there's no such thing as wrong decisions. uh, you can go from any place to anywhere from in your life, as long as you do what is required at that point of time. So yeah, that's how it has been. And as of what I'm doing today, what I'm doing in during sort of my journey in law school. So I've had the best time of my life, I believe, in the last 2 years, because I've invested myself and got myself into things which I really like doing. I am engaged in this sort of student group called Anhad at my college, and I'm someone who really invests myself in organizing events and organizing people to get there. And I think I've got more than 50 people, 50 leaders around across industries to basically come at my college and speak to students there, and sort of even network with them. And all this happens because you have to have the confidence to approach people. You have to have the confidence to get them to listen to you. And this only happens when you're fearless in your approach. You have to be you have to get out there and do what you want to do. Because if you just think back and worry about that, what I'll do 10 years from now, how will this help me, believe me, everything is helping you. Everything you want to do right now will help you sometime in your life. So I have spoken to multiple people whom I never would have had I not, you know, uh, been on my feet and uh, did what I thought was the best thing to do at that point of time. And as of now, I am presently going to organize this fundraising webinar in about 2 weeks. I have started my own independent project. It's called CSSB. The full form is Citizen Synergy for Social Benefit. And I already have four sort of industry leaders from law. One of them is a partner at Khaitan. Two of them are senior counsels at Supreme Court. One of them is a sort of founder of his own law firm. And I've been able to connect with them. I've been able to convince them to speak for free, which they normally don't do for anyone. And I've been able to get them to basically help me raise funds, which will be donated to Goonj Foundation. Goonj is an NGO based in Delhi. They're working extensively for COVID-19 relief. And that's how it has been till now. And if you have any questions related to, a career in law, how studying in law school feels like, I'll be very happy to answer them and you can put them across. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manan. Yes, the role of education is to help us start thinking. But if we are able to decide what is the education that I will enjoy at the undergrad level, nothing like it. And there is where we come in the picture to do that, right? Um, but yeah, uh, there is no end to the amount of learning that one can do. There is no, and everything eventually gets connected. I started as an educator, got a business consultant, became a trainer, became a career counselor, an entrepreneur, and everything is connected. When I look at a student and a student says, I want to do entrepreneurship, I know what the person means and what it would take to do that. Right? So keep the journey on, understand what is the flow inside. If you can connect that, I think the whole learning experience will be wonderful. And you don't need a break time to break from this. This itself is what you will enjoy to do. Right? All right. Thanks, Manan.